My hopefully I'm not wrong about this, but my favorite Norwegian movie is Trolls.
Oh, that's awesome.
What is it called in Norwegian?
Troll.
Troll?
Troll.
Oh yeah, duh, because I hear them yell it all the time. Troll! Have you seen that?
No.
I think it's on Netflix. It's really good. It's really funny.
Yeah, and there's the gangster TV show as well. Lilyhammer, you should check that out.
Yes, Lilyhammer. It's pretty good too. I've seen that.
Ah, cool.
Yeah, that one's really funny as well. Welcome to the Web of Tomorrow. We're your hosts, Riley Carrasquillo,
Adam Harris, and today we have with us a special guest,
Ole André.
Maybe we could let him say his own name.
Yeah, let's let Ole introduce himself.
Yeah, Ole André Vadla Ravnås. That's how I say my name. It's really complicated, so just call me Ole André or Ole. That's
Ole.
Whatever works.
Ole André. Okay.
Okay, and so you're the creator, correct, of this tool called Frida?
Yeah, that's correct.
And just real quickly, let's talk about what it is. What is Frida?
So the elevator pitch is basically that it allows you to put a JavaScript interpreter inside of another running program without that program having any idea that it's happening and being designed for it. So you could have an existing program and you can put Frida in there and at runtime, and you are able to run your own scripts there. And your scripts have full access to memory. So you can read-write memory, you can hook functions, meaning you get callbacks when they're called. So meaning you can put yourself between the application and the OS and change the behavior of the application or the OS, or how the application perceives the OS. So you can basically do reverse engineering, like spying on things, spying on APIs getting called, crypto APIs, for example. Mm-hmm. Or you could use it for quality assurance kind of use cases where you would make certain API calls fail. For example, if it tries to connect on TCP on a certain port with a certain host, for example, or from a certain location in the program, you can make it fail with an arbitrary reason, and then you could look at how the application handles that, which you could use for simulating firewall conditions and things that you would normally have to set up a full environment to test, basically.
Cool. Could you also use that to test a shaky Wi-Fi connection?
You could do that too, yeah. And there's people using it for game tweaks, changing the behavior of games, adding overlays.
Could you use it to win at Flappy Bird?
Yeah, you could slow down time. So yeah, you could basically do a lot of things. Slow down time, speed it up, or because you are able to change the behavior of existing APIs. But of course, it's tricky to do this. But it's easier than what people have been doing for years with Rubber. Because what typically happened in the past was that people would write a payload in C, C++, or some native code that they would typically packaged in the DLL or SO or dialib, whatever OS it was, and get that into the application, and then start using some kind of hooking library to replace functions or get a callback when certain functions are called. But you have to write all this code by hand in C or some language like that.
So, as far as languages you work in, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like you didn't start off in JavaScript. You had a lot more extensive time in other languages, and then decided to get into JavaScript later. Is that correct?
Yeah. I did some single page app development because after Cisco, me and some friends started a music startup called Sounddrop, which was an app inside of Spotify, and it was a single page app, HTML, CSS, JavaScript.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that.
Really?
Is that still going?
No, it got shut down. The app ecosystem was kind of like a failed experiment, or it was an experiment that led to a lot of great things for Spotify. Like I mean, the whole Spotify desktop app is built as a bunch of apps now today, so it's a great platform for them.
Cool.
So it seems like the programming scene is pretty strong in Norway. Like there's quite a few programmer from what I've seen on GitHub. Even there's a lot of contributors in Norway. Is that what's the scene like there? Do you feel like it's because it's so cold there that like a lot of people decide they want to stay in and program? Or like what is it like there as far as programming? Because you said that you've done all these projects with your friends. Are these just friends that you've met through work, or are these friends you grew up with? Are these friends you met in college? What's the programming scene like there?
So the programming scene in the area where I'm from it's kind of weak. There's not many programmers that I know here, but this part of Norway, which is the west coast, has a lot of oil businesses. So
where are you? You're not in Oslo, right?
No, I'm in Stavanger. So
okay, so a city I've never even. I only know Oslo. That's why I said it. I wanted to sound like I knew something about Norway.
It's fairly fairly small, like 125,000 people or 120,000 people, around there somewhere in size.
So do you work for a company currently, or do you mostly contract out, or where do you work right now?
So right now I work for NowSecure, which is a Chicago-based security startup. And we're doing basically mobile security, so we're helping our customers find security issues with their apps, their mobile apps, meaning that, for example, if an app gets the GPS location and sends it off to their server, we'll spot that and tell them in the report, hey, this app is not behaving well, you should fix this and this and this. And how we're doing that on iOS, for example, is using Frida.
That's really cool.
So wait, you're using Frida in your work?
Yeah, I am actually. So it's awesome.
That's awesome.
So that means basically at work sometimes you're working on Frida itself, right?
Yeah, a lot of
awesome.
So yeah, if there's missing features or bugs in Frida, then I dive down and add them, fix the bugs, and so I go a lot up and down the stack basically. So I go up and the app that we're writing is written in Node.js, and it's like using the Frida's Node.js bindings. And sometimes there's a bug or a missing feature, and I'll just dive down in Frida and add it basically. So
you said that you moved back to the city that you're in currently. Is that where you grew up?
Close to it. So I'm from an even smaller place. I'm from a farm. I grew up on a farm on the country.
Oh, really?
So
how did you get into programming then? Like, what made you? Tell us. Start from the beginning. Where did you say to yourself, "Hey, I kind of like this whole computer business"?
I think how I got into it. Everything started with gaming. The first computer.
What games did you play first?
So we got a 386 SX, something like that, and it was Command and
Conquer.
No, that was much later. Captain Comic, that's the one. Like a platformer for DOS.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
And then later was Doom, Commander Keen as well, King's Quest, Monkey Island. Yeah, I love the Monkey Island games.
That's awesome. Doom 4 just came out.
Yeah, so I play way too little games these days, so I guess I should try it out.
You're too busy. Okay, so sorry, I interrupted. I'm a gamer nerd too, so I just wanted to know what games you play. So you were into games, and that's kind of where it started.
Yeah, but I had there were a few acquaintances, like friends of friends, who were doing demo scene stuff. If you're familiar with it, like building. It's basically you build a program where you're going to do something. It's not a video recording. You're using graphics and audio that you have to generate. well, you might have pre-recorded music, but the graphics are rendered basically. So it's all about impressing people, like showing what you can do with the current hardware. So back in the day, that was even harder than it is today, because today you have like massive GPUs, and back then you didn't have any GPUs. So if you could do something in 3D, it was really impressive. If you could do physics, like showing that something would fall down and break into pieces without any, it would just blow people's minds. So it was all about blowing minds. And they were doing like really, so it's like an artsy kind of thing, because you're kind of watching, it's kind of like a game playing itself, if you look at it that way. Like some kind of, it's like a piece of art where you might tell a story, and things are usually really synchronized with the music, and often drum and bass is used and the kind of stuff. So there's like I discovered there's a huge scene, or it was bigger back then, I think, than it is today, of people doing this. And they were really good with code. I mean, you'd have to be really good to build this kind of stuff and make it go fast. But yeah, I got to know a guy who was really into coding, and but yeah, I was trying to write code in, like, looking at other people's codes and like QBasic at the time, and Turbo Pascal or Object Pascal for DOS, but I was pretty convinced that I didn't have the talent required to do coding. It wasn't for me. I wasn't smart enough, or it wasn't. I had that idea anyway that I would never get into coding. So it was kind of, but it was kind of a dream to be able to build something like that, because I would look at it and the things that like demos that these guys were making, and like, wow, I wish I could build something like that. And then I got to know one of them, and we actually shared a flat together for a while, and he really helped me understand and get over the first stumbling blocks, which at the time, one of the early stumbling blocks was understanding pointers in C. It was like a wall, but it was, before that, it was even more basic stuff, like just being able to, I could maybe read some code and have a vague idea what it was doing, but I wouldn't be able to write it myself. It was that feeling of this is unattainable, or never get there. Yeah, thanks to this guy and my friend, and years later, I finally really got the hang of it slowly. But it was.
So how old were you?
I guess I was. So it was around 2000. I was probably around 18, 19 when I got serious about learning C++. I think I decided to learn C++, bought a book, and at that time, because of the help I got, like basically I would tell him, like, I want to build an app that does something like this, and we would sit down, we would use Borland C++ builder, like Windows program, to just design the GUI. That was easy enough, but then the code was the hard part. So he would sit next to me and tell me what to write, more or less, and I would ask him questions. And over time, instead a little bit more, it became less magic, but it was still not. I felt like I couldn't write something on my own. And then after this Linux distro thing, then I got the C++ book, and I started reading through that, and then that helped a lot. But and I've been through a bunch of languages through the early part of the journey, and that also has helped a bit. And today, and it's also why in Frida I'm using different languages for different parts of the job, because I believe in using different languages based on what you're doing, basically. So in Frida you have like the instrumentation core, that's C, but you have like the higher level stuff where you communicate between processes, that's written in Vadla, another programming language that compiles to C, and then you have the language bindings, and that's where I usually So I would write an app typically in Node.js, and I also added Swift bindings recently. So I built a Mac app as a proof of concept for that.
Oh, cool.
So what you're telling me is that you didn't know how to talk like you did at the beginning of this podcast when you were 19.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you couldn't have talked like that.
No way. So yeah, I was late, and I was reading. I was trying to get into programming, like looking at a book, and trying to read and understand. But it was. I don't think it was. My brain just wasn't wired the same way that maybe most. Like I felt like this. I'm not smart enough to learn this because I don't understand this, and it was just I think people learn differently. There's a different style that works for different people, and that was my problem basically. That of course it takes time as well, but
yeah.
But
I don't think it's just about being smart either, right? You look at someone else and just think they're really smart, but maybe they've just worked really hard. And it sounds like that's true with you. You weren't really smart, you just worked really hard, and you had something cool you wanted to do, and so you had to work really hard.
Adam, you can't tell our guests that they weren't really smart, dude. He's really smart.
Oh, so I'm sorry. You look very smart. Did you have any formal education, or were you just self-taught?
I'm self-taught, but I was trying to get a formal education, but this video code, I ended up spending all my time on that, showing up for the programming exams, but failing everything else, basically. So I was a terrible student.
So do you fail out of college? Were you going for a computer science degree or something?
Yeah, I came to this second year having failed pretty much everything because I wasn't spending time on studies. I was just spending time programming, and
that's awesome. Let's just put a little disclaimer on here. Pass your classes, kids. We're not saying that you shouldn't pass your classes, but
yeah, you should.
But this is awesome too.
So yeah, it's a dream. One day I want to go back there and finish what I started.
Man, it sounds like things were really, really hard whenever you're trying to program. Like, it sounds like it was really low level, you know? Like, today you can just jump in and start programming JavaScript, and, you know, JavaScript was kind of initially made for beginners. I feel like you kind of have an advantage that you, like, you know all this low level stuff, and it sounds like you really know how the computer works. Like, do you think that helps?
Yeah, I think it avoids a lot of. It helps to with architecture, software architecture, because it's really hard. I mean, you might, but part of the game is also making mistakes. So, but once you've made some of them, you will recognize them early and avoid making them again. And yeah, if you know how the low level stuff works, it can also be. It can help you, but it can also be maybe you're too set on perfection and you get less done in some cases because this sucks because and maybe it's good enough. So it's like finding that balance between being pragmatic and being academic is a tricky one. So you want to write beautiful code, but you also want to ship code that works. So
yeah, that's a really good point. So, what advice would you give to someone just even thinking about doing programming? They say, like, especially people. Let's say, for example, people that are discouraged with their lot in life or their current job, and they're like, well, programming's lucrative. I'll try and pursue that. What would you say to them?
If you have something you want to build, something that you need yourself, and maybe you have a friend who knows programming and you can get them to do it, you can do it together basically. That could be a great way to get into it if you don't have a lot of time. If you have more time, maybe you can. And that's a point where I'm kind of outdated. I don't know. There's probably a lot of resources today that weren't available back then. but that's also part of the problem. It's like overwhelming. Like, where do you start? Because now you have so many languages, you have several mainstream OSs that people are using, and are you going to build for the web, or are you build for the desktop, or you build for the mobile, or is it back-end stuff? I mean, it's like it's overwhelming, I think. Yeah. So yeah, you have to have a problem that you want to solve, and it shouldn't be too complicated, obviously. So for me, I think the early apps I built were like a desktop app to send SMSs, because it was really painful to write them on the phone.
Oh, cool.
And that was about just figuring out the API, web scraping, basically, and then replicating that. So it's not super complicated. You're not building you don't need to build a backend, basically. But if you need to, I wouldn't start with something that required a lot of moving parts, basically. But start with something simple and get the hang of it.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. A lot of my early stuff was just solving a problem that I had.
Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, when people ask me about Deb Mountain, which is the boot camp that I went to, they say, so was it good? And I was like, it was good, but you should go in already having a project you want to do. Because that's where you'll benefit. Because where sometimes it's hard is when you don't have a mentor or someone to kind of help you talk through things and teach you about the good processes and procedures that you can follow, and like ways of thinking about your project. Because there is, like you said, there actually is a ton of resources for some of the more straightforward things, especially vocabulary, especially tools and things like that. But I especially needed help understanding how to think through a problem. And so that was the advice I would always give people is, have a project. Don't go in thinking that it's just going to be inspiration, or that someone's going to give it to you. No one's going to give you the recipe for success, because there isn't one.
Exactly. So I think that's the best approach. Finding things you need yourself and building them. Personally, I built something for my car. I would have like a touch screen in my car. This was in the old days when people weren't using smartphones. So today you would probably just dock your phone in the car, but back then there was not something like that. So
you built that?
Yeah, I set up a system with a touch screen, and I started building my own GUI toolkit to display the buttons on the screen. I mean, that was just for learning.
Oh, that is so cool.
But,
that is really cool.
But the idea was that it would be like peer-to-peer music sharing in the car. So if other people had the same system, you can share music when you're next to each other. It's really ridiculous. You can cut it out.
No, that is awesome.
Is
there any other cool things you made you want to talk about?
I built like an iOS and Android app not that long ago, because where I live now there's a ferry, and it's only like the departures are really not consistent, so you can't just remember that it's 1:15 or in 1:45 the hour or something like that. It's really arbitrary times, so people end up looking at the schedule all the time. So I built just an app that was super simple. It would just count down to the next departure, because usually what you want to know is how many minutes do I have to get there to not miss it. And it would do this based on your GPS location, so it will know which side of the ocean you're on.
That's super cool.
So, but it's super simple stuff.
That's one that someone could try and make. Like, that's a project someone could imitate for sure.
Yeah,
that's learning and something new.
Yeah,
it was super fun hearing you talk. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me.
We appreciate it. But Ole, right? I said that right this time?
Yeah, it's good.
Ole André, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We'll probably have to have you come on again and deep dive once more. We really appreciated it and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks. Great chatting with you guys.
So I hope you guys thought that was really interesting as I thought it was. And if you liked it, please subscribe in whatever place that you listen to podcasts and give us a rating. That'll help us show up for more people to find us. And you can comment on the weboftomorrowpodcast.com. And we're on Twitter at weboftomorrowfm. So follow us on there.
And thank you for joining us for the hero's journey. We'll see you next time.